Good evening and welcome to the Orville Review Show, where we explore the fascinating universe of the Orville. I'm your host, Jody Simpson, and today we're diving into the 9th episode of the first season, which is nicely and delightfully titled Cupid's Dagger. But I'm not alone in my journey. No, because number one, I'm very frightened to be by myself. But past that, uh, I have with me some great panelists and maybe even some surprise ones to show up after. Who knows? We'll see. Anyway, without further ado, I give you my panel. Coming up first is the man, the producer, the legend, Dave Mater.
Yes, I'm here to sing My Heart Will Go On, and you will all be silent for it. Thank you.
Silence!
Silence! Unless there's an emergency.
And who could forget the ravishing man himself? The man who just shows us how beautiful people can be. And that is, of course, Chris Worldmind Murphy. How you doing?
I thought you were talking about Adam Woodward.
You're talking about me.
Oh,
Yeah.
I haven't done yours yet, Adam, but now you can put me on the spot.
It's okay.
I just make these up out of my head.
The pheromones are flying around. We can't keep track.
And there's only one person who I think on this world is sexier than Patrick Stewart, and that is, of course, Adam Woodward.
Make it so, Jody. Make it so.
Oh, you make it so a lot from what I hear. All right.
You've been talking to Callie?
Yes, I have been talking to your wife, your lovely wife. Divulges things that perhaps she shouldn't. But anyway, in this thrilling installment, the USS Orville takes center stage as it hosts peace talks between two enemy species. But there's a twist. All right. And that is the negotiator is none other than a man involved in Commander Kelly's Grayson's affair. Well, he's not really the negotiator. He's more of the person who's going to provide the proof on who owns the planet, essentially.
He's an expert on pottery.
He's an expert on pottery. Yes, exactly. But guys, tensions rise, old wounds reopen, and familiar faces collide. In more ways than one, actually. Will diplomacy prevail? Or will personal history sabotage the delicate negotiations? Let's discuss. All right. Anyway, how do we feel about this episode, guys? I know. Let's start with Murphy this time, because I know Murphy literally just ended the episode and then came here.
Yeah, I kind of speed ran the episode. I started skipping through boring parts of it. This show, much like the opening scene, I find it's the opening scene is a perfect sort of allegory for what this show is. It is the karaoke of Star Trek, you know.
I like
in this
karaoke.
episode, some people do.
We have
I
a
don't know,
negative Nancy here.
this episode, I don't know. It was what did it remind me of? What was the whole pheromone thing? I don't know. It was reminding me of like other shows. I don't know. I'm just not the biggest fan of this first season of Orville. I find these episodes
the fourth season
to
is
be a
definitely the
task.
weakest in my opinion. Yeah, for sure.
So, yeah.
Well, to each his own, right? All right, and of course, the producer extraordinaire, Dave Mater. What were your thoughts on this episode?
I think that the episode's pretty funny overall, although I think that the plot is somewhat, simple and sort of, kind of something we've seen in Star Trek before. Like, I think in particular,
Sandy Fever.
the one on Deep Space Nine where they all want to bang each other. That's kind of some tones of that are present in this episode. I think that this whole love triangle between, Rob Lowe and Seth MacFarlane and Adrian Palicki is pretty hilarious in this episode and how they kind of go about it. In particular, the scene in bed with Seth MacFarlane and Rob Lowe is hilarious.
Yeah,
it's just huge. And he's like, "Shouldn't you be on the bridge?" She's like, "I'm always on the bridge," and
I want to be here.
I want to be with you. There's just a lot of
focus on that tight figure.
Yeah, there's just some great jokes and dialogue in this, But on the other hand, I don't want to hype it up as the greatest episode ever, but it's pretty good, and I enjoy it, and I was satisfied by the end of it.
All right. Well, that's important to be satisfied at the end, Dave.
Mm-hmm. Rob Lowe knows that.
And there's somebody who really always keeps people satisfied, and that of course is Adam. So
Mm-hmm.
Adam, what are your thoughts?
Yeah, I like this episode. It was funny. You know, you guys got me thinking a few weeks ago when I gave that this big goose egg, and you know, you got to take this series for what it is. And
Absolutely.
And I enjoyed it. I enjoyed it from the start.
Yeah, I enjoyed the episode. I understand where Murphy's coming from, and I totally get it. And you know, I agree. I think the first season is the weakest of the seasons of this show for sure, but there's a lot of laughs to be had here, and I enjoyed the episode. I think Rob Lowe was fantastic. I loved how when Seth MacFarlane was finally under, you know, the spell, how he acted, I thought was just fantastic. I loved his just goofiness and his like admiration for him and all this stuff.
None of us mentioned Yaphet as well, and
Yes.
That's my favorite
that,
part of the episode is the Yaphet portion.
Funny enough, that's my least favorite part of the episode.
That is, yeah,
especially
it
when
stays
Alara
with you.
walks in with her.
Yeah, when she's like all naked with Yaphet,
that's
and they're doing she's going for the swim, if you will.
Something. Yeah, that was quite a swim. All right, that was a deep dive for sure.
Well, it's interesting when you think that, like, you know, both Yaphet and Delaria were not under the influence, if you want to say anything, you know. So, you know, the doctor was, the captain was, the first officer were, but the others weren't. Like, you know,
Correct.
so.
Yaphet was a carrier, though.
Sure, but he was in there. Oh
yeah.
Wow.
But he
already wanted it. He already wanted her, and he
didn't know.
I think the morality with him is kind of, you know, clean, I'd say, because he doesn't know that she's under the influence of this either. So, but it
isn't firm enough for the doctor. She likes her men a little more dense.
Metal
with batteries. Yeah. So, hey,
Sam says hi.
Yeah,
And, I don't know if you caught that, but Norman's here as well. Always nice to have those two here.
The whole the whole part where she's got the phaser or what, the pistol on Yaphet, and she's like the crazy ex-girlfriend there.
I like that part.
That part is funny.
Like that part. The only part that disturbed me was in her office there. That was
yeah, like for a non-R-rated show or whatever. Like it was pretty like, wow, like they went for it, you know. So
Sam has a question. Did this episode come out on Valentine's Day? No, it did not.
I don't think so. No,
it was in I think November or
November 9th of 2017.
November 9th, I think. Yeah, it should be in the show notes down at the bottom there. For anybody watching it on YouTube, you should be able to see it there. As well as I think on Facebook, I think you see.
Which is weird to think that this was 7 years ago that this episode came out. You know, sometimes I'm kind of still.
Yeah, I always forget how long ago this was. Like this, you know, this was like pre-pandemic. This was before a lot of things. You know, we've had a rough run over the last couple of years.
Yeah.
Everybody has. So, you know, it's interesting to think that. All right. Anyway, shall we get into the episode, gentlemen?
Yeah.
All right, let's do it. All right. So anyway, we start off here, of course, with why is that not working? Let's try that again. There we go. We started off, as Murphy was letting us know about, was the karaoke lounge singing that was going on.
Yeah.
I can't remember what song she was singing.
Any way you want it. That's the way
any way you
need
want it. All right.
It wasn't that great of a rendition.
It was not that great of a rendition, but you know what?
You know
She and the crowd were all having fun.
It was karaoke though. I mean, it seemed natural. Like it would have been horrible if they dubbed it with somebody who could sing well.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah.
But like when Jody and I sing at karaoke, and I don't think you've had the pleasure, Adam.
No, you probably haven't heard us yet.
Yes,
Actually,
but
come to think of it, I don't think
after
Cliff
you
has either.
see that, you will go,
Yeah,
whoa,
you know
this
what?
is crap.
We are a duo.
Yeah.
A duo that is.
We
to
do
be
many
reckoned
different
with at
duets
karaoke.
together. We're
Yeah.
we're on tour
Yeah.
next summer.
And guess what? You have no humility. Really, that's fantastic.
You know what? We really don't.
Yeah.
Especially
Yes.
Dave. Dave has absolutely no humility. I have a
Hopefully
little
not.
bit
No.
until
Like,
I get something in me, and then
why would I want it? You know? So,
exactly.
Okay, now you've definitely raised the bar that I have to come see next time.
Oh, no problem. No problem. What? Hey, you can come up and do a set with us. It'll be great.
Sure.
All right.
Huh.
Anyway,
I just
So-
realized, hey, sorry, not to interrupt, but if you go back a frame there, you see the outline of the Orville on the back wall next to the bar there?
yes.
Yeah.
If you tilt your head to the side, it kind of looks like a smiling puppy.
Oh, it does. Or what's the things from Doctor Who? Megatron? No, not Megatron.
Oh, the
Dalek?
the robot guys.
Oh yeah. That's the
Not the Dalek, the other guys.
The
Cybermen?
walking ones.
Cybermen.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Oh, okay.
All right. So anyway, yeah, we get a rendition from Kelly, and then the host.
Can we talk about this guy,
Sure, absolutely.
the karaoke host? Did you recognize him?
No,
How could you?
Yeah, how
I'm
could
not
you?
sure how I could. Yeah, absolutely.
This is Mr. Ralph Garman.
Oh, is it? Okay, cool.
Yeah, from Hollywood Babylon, a podcast that Kevin Smith does, and he's from like K Rock and Cal. He's been on Family Guy and different things. He's done
Yeah,
voices
for sure.
over the
Yeah, he
years.
does a lot of voice work. Yeah.
But apparently he was like super claustrophobic for this, and they throw him in like the biggest alien head they could. So
Well, that's
I
one
do
thing-
love the alien designs in this show. Like,
Oh, the alien.
It-
design.
so
this episode in
good.
particular, like we got some
the
really
guys with
cool
the
aliens.
bones coming out of their heads. I love that. That looks so cool. Yeah, which we'll see shortly anyway. But yeah. So anyway, she takes a bow, and then it's announced that Bortus is the next one up. Everybody's a little bit surprised by that. And then "My Heart Will Go On" by Celine Dion from.
We were
the
robbed.
Titanic
We were
soundtrack
all robbed. The show
Completely
was
robbed.
playing, and he was about to start singing it, and then of course there was a
you will be silent.
yeah. Everybody was still cheering him on and stuff, getting ready to go, and he was like, "You will be silent," kind of like our intro there.
our intro.
That's a
there.
different scene, though.
But that's a different time when he's telling them to be
It
silent.
is a different time. Yes, he said that a couple times in the series. But anyway, and then it turns out that the admiral is contacting them. He lets them know that there's two warring races that are trying to claim this planet, a little tiny planet, actually, not even that big. But they both think that they have the rights to it, and they found a piece of pottery essentially that is a ruin that they're going to test now. But basically, they've asked the Orville to host these two because, of course, only the Orville can do that. Just like the Enterprise and all of the other ships before it.
When you're the Space Marriott, you have to host the conferences.
It's true. I'm sure there's tons of conference rooms in that.
Here's my question though, because they're told to rendezvous with the Olympia, which is clearly a larger ship.
It actually isn't. If you look at the scene between the two of them, the Orville is actually in the foreground.
Wait, the Olympia is the smaller ship.
Olympia is the smaller ship. Yeah.
Oh,
Yeah,
okay.
because you see the shuttle come out of the left one and go towards the right.
Okay.
So I just assume that's the case, unless maybe I was looking at it upside down.
I think you're right.
Yeah.
Because
But anyway, the crew manifest comes in, and the specialist that's coming on board, Alara knows who this is, and she's like, "Oh shit!" Right?
Oh yeah, she's like,
And
"Go ahead."
she just bails, which happens to
Why,
be like
why
a
didn't she
running
hit
gag.
a communicator though? Couldn't she just call them on the communicator?
Yeah, that's what I was thinking.
She
there's
could,
some
but
choices.
everybody likes to run out of the bridge on this show.
They like running in this show. Yeah.
And plus, they have this nice spiral staircase, so they gotta use that whenever they can. And she just hauls ass, and she gets to the point where she can see the the deck observation area there, and she's like, "Oh crap, they're already here." And he comes out, and he's like, "Oh, there he is!" And of course, that is played by Rob Lowe.
In classic look, Rob Lowe look, that he always uses
the pouty, cute guy.
Yeah.
He knows that from way back in the day, and it still works, of course. And this is news to these two because these two did not know this was happening, and this creates quite some tension, especially under the two. We get our title card, which is Cupid's Dagger, which I guess kind of makes sense when you think about the episode. Yeah. And of course, you got Rob Lowe with his super smiley, Mr. Rob Lowe, and he's like, "Can we just shake? Like, let's be professional here. Blah 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 blah." Turns out that this shake might be the problem that we have through the entire episode, because he ends up shaking both of them.
Right.
And then basically Mercer kind of goes off in a little pouty tangent and starts walking away. And then he tries to close
the door on her, and
and she couldn't. And I like the line later on because they're in the elevator. They're in the elevator like 5 times during this episode.
Keep running into that same guy.
They keep running into the same guy. And there's one point where like she hits the button to like keep it open, And he's like, oh yeah, it works for you. He seems all pissy about it. But anyway, yeah. So the two of them are, clearly Mercer's pissed off. She's like, well, I didn't know he was coming. How did I know this? Right? Like, you're gonna blame this on me? And then of course this guy, I don't even think they name him, do they?
No,
Dan.
I think he had
Dan.
Is his
Yeah,
name
Dan.
Dan?
DANN.
Oh, you know what? You're right, because he says it. Mercer says it at the end when he leaves after Kelly has a hissy fit coming out of the elevator. Like, are you ever not on this elevator? So, but anyway, and the two of them are very awkward in the
awkward chat. We need to add music here, which they later do.
Maybe we should add some music. And yeah, that might be a good idea. And they both like take off. And then as they're walking through, Rob Lowe walks through Yaphet, basically. And Yaphet has flowers in his hand and a guitar. You already know where he's going, because he's been doing this for the last couple episodes, just trying to hit on Claire as much as possible. And he's like, yeah, we're good. Thanks, man. Give me back that little lump that's still on your leg.
And that's where he touched him, I guess. Yeah,
that's where he touched him.
Yeah.
But technically he walked through him, so I guess.
But what was funny about that scene is, like, when Yaphet drops the Gerber daisies, and then he just drags the guitar behind him. He just
well, it's heavy, right?
Yeah. Oh yeah.
Yeah. Norman says, poor Yaphet. All right, but Yaphet. I don't know. He's kind of sleazy too, though. So I kind of like.
He's supposed to be a little sleazy.
Yeah, he's supposed to be sleazy and stuff. So this is kind of all right.
But I don't think he's meant to. A lot of people, including people on this podcast, have accused him of being a sexual predator. And
I think he is a sexual predator. But I think
it's great.
I think that's a little harsh. I think.
Well, I think that's just part of his species. I don't think it's. I think they just have a high.
I think that's more. I think that's more in line with like Norm Macdonald, because Yaphet is basically the gelatin version of
Norm
the
Macdonald,
Mike Tyson mysteries.
Yeah, that's true. Yeah,
I don't know.
Yeah. So then, of course, next we get Bortus and what's his name?
Clyden.
That's it. And the two of them are, dropping the kid off, the boy off now, who used to be a girl.
And will be again. Spoilers.
Technically, they're
eventually
picking the child up because I assume there was some sort of medical exam.
Yeah,
Fine,
she said he
like-
got his shots or something like that, and he's good to go. And then, they have a little disagreement here. He's like, "Are you coming home for dinner tonight?" And he's like, "No, I have a meeting. I already told you." That kind of thing. Because Bortus only yells everything basically. And then he says to Claire, like, when is this parenting thing going to be good? Because, this is terrible. And she's like, the first year kind of sucks.
Says all him and Clyden do is fight. And Clyden can't stay out of the replicator, I guess. And he keeps
he keeps eating.
Gaining weight. And, there's issues in there.
And they're not having relations.
Yeah, we're not having relations yet.
Regular relations.
And then those two, Bortus leaves, and just as Bortus leaves, Yaphet shows up. He's got some flowers in hand and dragging a guitar behind him.
She threatens to put a formal report
on
she's
him. Like, if you keep doing this, I'm just gonna get you written up, kind of thing. He's like, just give me a chance. What do you see? He starts singing a song, and he's like, "Won't you be my girlfriend?" or something like that. I can't remember the actual song.
I was like, how did like Seth get Norm Macdonald to even sing? He never does this kind of stuff. Money, I guess. But
money, I'm sure. Yeah.
Norm Macdonald had to put a bet on some sport event, so he took the bet.
yeah, probably. But anyway, she's like, "Oh, I got things to do," and she kind of throws the flowers on the sick bay bed there, and kind of, that's the end of the scene.
So that's where that's how she gets like the pheromone, right?
She gets the pheromones from the flowers. Yeah.
Yeah.
So. But basically everything that this guy touches essentially turns into like, essentially like a sex pot, running
an aphrodisiac of sorts.
Yeah. So anyway, Kelly shows up, and her intention is to basically say, this is a professional environment, blah, blah, blah. And as she's talking to him, all of a sudden she's kind of falling for him again. And she's like, you're so,
His blue eyes on that blue skin.
Blue eyes on the blue skin. Yeah. And then we go up to the bridge where I can't remember what they were doing. Oh,
this is where like the ambassadors are arriving, but they can't get Kelly.
Oh, they can't find Kelly. Yeah, they can't find Kelly. And there goes Mercer running now,
So he goes to her quarters, opens her door, goes up the stairs.
Which at this point, let's be honest, guys, this seems a little too much. Like, why is he opening her door? Like, she's got privacy and stuff.
I think you would send a Lara to do this,
or somebody else. Yeah. Like,
Did you guys know that she had a loft?
Yeah, no kidding, eh? I was gonna say that when I was watching it. I'm like, wow, they got some sweet digs here.
Yeah,
like,
I think his quarters are the same, right?
Yeah,
like
they're both basically the same. Yeah. So these must be like the commander.
Like 2 levels though. It's kind of it's neat.
Yeah, it's got a lofty second level there, with a bed on it, which turns out she's using, along with Rob Lowe, because let's be honest, who wouldn't?
And he splurges all over everything again.
It'd be great to see that picture versus the first episode to see if it was the same, like the same expressions. They're in the same parts of the bed. Like everything.
She definitely has pretty much the same expressions. I don't know about him though. He looks more confused than he did the first time, because the first time he was smiling, from what I remember. So, but again, sorry.
Did you guys feel like bad for the captain at this point? You know, like,
do I feel
Slightly.
bad for Mercer? Yeah.
Not that bad, but
I don't feel that bad. No, like he clearly, and then he splooges. Oh, Murphy's gone. Oh no, he's back to audio. Okay, but anyway, yeah. So anyway, he does his little splooge thing, gets all over. I love the look on her face, just like, ugh, But like, you were literally sleeping with him, like. That can't
yeah,
be,
and then she
that
runs
can't
after
be the only fluid he emits.
I guess she had to clean up fast and then run after him.
Yeah, well, she cleaned up pretty fast.
I wish like there was still some blue on her face.
That would have been funny. Yeah, that would have been better. But I get the impression that this is like a little bit later on, like she's run down a couple corridors and now she's found him, kind of thing.
I guess,
so
yeah.
I think there's been a little bit of
clearly
time.
enough time has gone by for her to change and whatever.
So of course they're waiting for the elevator, and who happens to be in there?
Dan.
It's Dan. Dan's like, hey, we keep running into each other. This guy is like the most annoying.
He's just like, oh, top brass.
But he's like, yeah, top.
No, this is when he brings up the elevator music again.
Yeah, he's like, so anybody talk to anybody about getting the elevator music in here yet?
And Ed just goes, just do it.
Yeah, just what, you take care of it anyway. So then we get introduced to the two alien parties. I absolutely love this outfit. Everything about this looks awesome. Yeah, very Diablo. Yeah, for sure.
The batlets. It looks like batlets.
Oh my god, they do look like bathlets. Jesus.
Actually,
how did I not notice that?
They're the batlet face. Yeah.
Huh. I wonder if that was intentional.
I'm sure it was.
It wouldn't shock me. As Seth MacFarlane.
But I love these designs. They're both very cool alien designs.
Yeah, I like,
but also funny. Like they're especially the guys on the right here. Like,
they're not menacing, right? Like they're
almost
at the guy
cartoonish.
on the right, yeah, they're almost cartoonish. Yeah, exactly. That's the way I kind of look at it. But basically, Mercer's like, yeah, okay, well, two of you, we're gonna let's get together. We'll talk. We'll talk a little bit later, and yeah, that'll be great. And then he literally like takes off after he talks to them, and Kelly's just like, what do I do, kind of thing. So anyway,
yeah, these guys kind of look like the like what's the Grand Negus's character, the big tall dude that's always following the Grand Negus. DS9. For lack of a better
I know
term,
who you mean.
Butler.
Yeah, I do.
They rarely say his name.
Yeah,
kind of look Nautigan like too a little bit.
Yeah, a little bit. Yeah. All right, so we got a nice little shot here where we can see there's 2 moons or possibly planets. I don't know what they're. But anyway, so now we get back to girl talk with Kelly and Alara, where she's like, I'm just kind of into him. Like, turns out, like, he's the love of my life. And Alara's just like, you're bloody nuts. I didn't bother to take too many shots because literally they're all the same during the scene.
They did spend a lot of time in this first season investing in like the Kelly and Alara friendship, I think, in particular.
Which is kind of a waste.
Because Alara ends up leaving the show.
Yeah, right? Alara leaves after the season. So.
And I feel like it kind of becomes after
back,
for an episode, but after that, I feel like it becomes kind of like Kelly and the Doctor. And I guess whoever replaces Alara, whose name escapes me right now, but like they kind of become like the trio of ladies.
I actually like the girl that replaces Alara.
Me too.
I like the actress. She's good.
I like the character and I like the actor. But,
yeah, she plays it a little different. She's not the naive, innocent young girl version. she's the more like, let's go kick some ass.
She's a little bit more mature and seasoned, I suppose. And
So,
then on the other side we have Ed and Gordon here,
really doing the exact same thing where Ed's like, I'm really into this guy. He's really cool.
No, this is when he hates him. This is when he's still angry. This is
before where he's still angry. You're right. Absolutely.
He wants to fire him, throw him off the ship.
Yeah, he's like, we'll just throw him off, blah, blah, blah. We'll get another one. It'll delay it for a couple days. It'll be fine.
He wants to pull a President Roslin and just throw him out the airlock.
Yeah. And again, I didn't get too many screenshots because it's literally the same thing over and over again. But basically the end of the conversation is, Gordon's kind of like, what the fuck? Like, what's going on?
But he's mostly on Ed's side, but Ed's like, I'm going to throw him off the ship. He's like, well, don't we kind of need him for this
Which
mission?
is funny because when we were introduced to Gordon, we were under the impression that he's literally the guy who is not responsible for anything. He drinks beer at work and he's just that guy. And it turns out that he seems to be one of the most level-headed people when it comes to dealing with Mercer, right? So it's
maybe in this one example.
There's sometimes
I would say there's other examples. He's always Mercer's like bro to like.
He's always the guy that kind of tries to calm him down or tries to reason.
Right.
With him.
Yeah. He'll do that. Yeah. He doesn't try to egg him on or anything. In this particular situation.
So anyway, Mercer goes down to talk to Rob Lowe's character there.
Derulio.
There we go. Someone's got to fill me in on the names all the time. One of these days I'll just write them down. But anyway, Derulio basically starts talking to him, and Ed starts getting infatuated with him. Like
it seems like in the scene, it just seems like Rob Lowe's just charming the hell out of him. But on the other hand, it's like there's something a little off with.
Well, this is when we really figure out what's going on with Kelly.
Wow.
I just realized why they call him Derulio, because Derulio sounds like Rufio, and Rufio as well.
From
short
Hook?
for Rufy. Yeah, Hook, Rufio, Derulio, Rufio, Rufy. Derulio walks around essentially Rufy's people, and
he doesn't roofie anyone.
Well,
I would say he's chemically and pheromonically roofing people. Yes.
Yeah.
That's not this. No.
So maybe he also got Mercer got an extra transfer here from the eye socket things. I don't know. Possibly.
Maybe. Yeah, you got
but he looks at it. Turns out it's a very ancient DNA. But it's going to take it's going to take, I think he said 36 hours to process this DNA to figure out whose it is. And it turns out that this pot that they found is a birthing pot, apparently, which sounds absolutely horrible. And I don't want to get into it further.
I bet you somebody squats over that and just sort of drops it in.
Throws a
it's
kid
like
in
got
there,
a bunch of water.
It's just a basket that catches the fetus. Yeah. So
Okay.
I'm gonna assume
this is why I didn't want to talk about it, guys.
like a bucket full of water, you just kind of dropping an apple in there and it'll bob back up.
We're bobbing for apples now. With this
But
thing.
we're bobbing for alien babies,
Oh man,
Adam, what do you think?
I'm
very quiet.
I didn't spend too much time on that one in my head.
Same here. But anyway, you start seeing. I will say, think what you want about Seth MacFarlane. The man can do funny faces.
Yeah.
And like, look at this. He's like, it's the infatuated curiosity of him.
I think his performance in this scene is really good. I think it's like how he goes from angry just all of a sudden
just
he's
like
sort of
crushing. Yeah.
Yeah. I think it's awkward with him. He's like, I can't remember what the line was, but he's just like, I never say that, and he's just kind of like all nervous.
We should go out for drinks. Yeah.
For drinks, yeah.
Yeah.
I never ask anybody
He
this.
says, I never asked anybody to do that.
Yeah, how giddy he gets with the whole
gets
thing.
All giddy and silly.
And my other thought was like, was Ed Mercer bisexual before all this like came up with Derulio, or is this
Well, later on when he's in sick bay and
so.
everything's done, he's like, yeah, I'm kind of what did he say? Unsettled about this.
Which
I think leads me to believe that maybe he's had those feelings before.
Maybe, but Malloy kind of gives us like is pretty surprised that.
Malloy is totally surprised. He's like, "Oh, really? Okay."
I didn't know.
Yeah.
Right.
So then all of a sudden we get a shot of these legs walking down the hallway, and it's like, who could this be? Turns out it's Claire, and she's all dolled up, and she's going to see Yafid.
I'd be seduced by this.
Yeah. No wonder Cisco fell for her ways.
I don't know how old how old Penny
Penny
is
Johnson?
at this point, but I'm willing to bet she's probably in her 50s at this point.
Oh, easy. Yeah.
Yeah.
I'd
So
I'll let you know.
She can
and
still
she
go.
looks fantastic.
Penny
Absolutely.
Johnson was born in 61. So,
61. So yeah.
Whatever the math is on that. 2017 minus 6.
So 6
minus
years
19.
ago.
She was 56 at the time.
56. That woman looks fantastic for 56. Anyway, no wonder why Yaphet wants her. But anyway, she's like, yeah, I thought I could come on in. And he's like, yeah, okay, I guess so. And he's like, here, this is my bed. And then she goes and sits on like the side of it and she like strokes it and he's like, oh.
Like, yeah, what we learned about his species that they reproduce through mitosis.
They mitosis. So basically, it used to be his mom. Now it's him and his sister. And
Now his brother. Yeah,
Yeah.
and I was like, that's interesting. Like,
that like you and your mom? He's like, no, that's me and my brother. We used to be my
And-
mom.
yeah, like I want to know more about his species and like
Yeah.
you know how they.
And then she's like, do you want to kiss me? And he's like, okay. And
This is the weirdest kiss.
it's the weirdest thing you've ever seen.
Oh, this
Yeah.
isn't even the weirdest thing in this episode. What are you talking about?
Well,
I
it's
think
up
this
there.
is a little
This is-
weirder.
This is calm compared to the
This
other
is the
scenes.
top 3 weirdest things in the episode.
Oh, I even got the
Oh.
close up for you just to make
Listen,
sure we all
you'll
remember.
never see Picard sucking face with Flubber. That's
No.
all I'm gonna say.
That's
Yeah.
true.
Flopper.
Riker, however,
Or
No, but you
Janeway.
know what though? No, you
Riker,
good
wouldn't.
chance
maybe.
Riker. And definitely.
You know what?
and
Okay, you know what?
definitely
Honestly,
Crusher.
I take it all back. If Crusher can fall in love with a green ghost candle man, then she
Right.
can.
A charming
This doctor
space
can
candle
fall in love
ghost.
with the booger.
One of the worst episodes ever.
Oh, it's a masterpiece.
It
When
is
do we
not a-
review it on
it's
the
a
DMV
masterpiece
podcast?
on what not.
I
to
might
do.
give it a 20. I don't know. We'll see.
Yeah, you probably would. You have some sort of ghost sex infatuation.
I do.
Anyway, so then we get to see Mercer, and he's clearly,
Plucking his
prodding himself here.
eyebrows.
Yeah, he's plucking his eyebrows, and he's putting moisturizer on, and all that. And Gordon walks in, and he's like, "What the hell are you?
The hell
doing?"
is going on? He's like, I'm going to meet him for drinks, and he's
And
like,
I
all
love how
nervous.
he's like smacking he's trying to get rid of like the little like kind of neck thing going on here. He's
Neck
like,
cuts with a splash of aftercare.
yeah.
Yeah.
And
Oh,
he's
this
like,
this jacket.
how do I
no,
look good in this suit? Now I had to ask you, Dave. What do you feel about this jacket?
This is the ugliest looking thing I've ever seen.
I
Like
completely agree.
Gordon was right to hate it, and and I do too. He's like, it's too much. He's like, I'm trying to show some personal just flair or like personal style. Do not light that candle. That's
Do
right.
not light that candle.
But like I think the way that Scott Grimes plays this scene is so funny. Like how he's the straight man against like the more like off the wall version of Ed Mercer here.
Yeah.
And it's really, this scene is maybe my favorite of the episode.
It's
Just
pretty
really-
funny. Yeah.
like, the
and
shock.
just the look on Gordon's face throughout the entire conversation is just priceless. And now he's like proving himself in the mirror. I tried to get as much as I could of his face. Yeah, he's like, what the hell? And I can't remember why he's pointing at him, but I think it was something like,
Oh, he
you
says you
should be
never
happy for
support
me."
me because
Yeah.
he said, he's like, okay, but I gotta go right, and I'll call you right after. Like he's like,
Yeah, I'll call you after.
he's
Yeah.
being like kind of like more of those stereotypical young woman, I guess, dating somebody tropes versus like a guy, right? So
You'll like this comment from Norman. Makes Wesley Crusher and Jake's outfits look styling. by
that's like
comparison.
you're very true, very true.
very
That
true.
I think they intentionally made that jacket the most hideous thing you could imagine.
Yeah. So then he ends up putting on his commander jacket, or
Yeah.
captain jacket, I guess. And he's still troubled by this. He's like, "What the hell?" So anyway, we go to Alara
No,
talking.
but is that cologne? Like
Yeah,
he's,
is that cologne?
yeah. Oh my god, he's going all out.
Yeah, he's totally all out, and he's all in for this. So we get Alara and Lamar, and they're sitting here talking, and she's like, there's something weird going on here, and I can't remember what Lamar says, but it's actually pretty funny.
It's the best line in maybe in the whole
All right,
show.
you tell us what it is, Dave.
It's like she, maybe he says maybe Kelly's on drugs or maybe they're on drugs, and she goes, oh, I don't think they're on drugs. He's like, you better check yourself. This whole ship's on drugs. And like it's I don't know the way he delivers it, and you're like, I believe him. By the
Yeah.
end of it, I was
At
like,
this
yeah,
point,
they're all
he's
on.
right. Yeah. So anyway, the which ones are these? These are the
Don't know.
We'll call them
the Navarians and the Bruidians. So they're one of those two.
Yeah, I
They're
think
the
these are
Navarians then.
These are the Navarians, yeah. So anyway, they show up and they're like, we demand to see, Captain Mercer. He's ignoring us, and this is not going well, and we rather just go into battle here or something like that. He's like, how long is this gonna take? And she's like, we'll know as soon as we can, kind of thing. And she's trying to be good, and then sure enough, Mercer walks in as they're talking, and of course, what's his name? Dorillio. There we go. Dorillio waves at him. And then, Rufio. We'll just call him Rufio. But anyway, and Mercer's like, yeah, no, it's fine. I got other things. He's trying to push them away so he can go see Rufio there. But anyway, and he goes and he turns out Kelly's sitting with him.
I object to this name Rufio. He is not roofing.
He's
anybody.
roofing everybody.
He's roofing everybody, yeah.
Roofing is like when you pass out. Like nobody goes unconscious.
No, that's not entirely true. That's not entirely true. I specifically remember going to a music festival and my ex-girlfriend got roofied, and she didn't pass out right away, but she got super, super drunk and eventually passed out like hours later.
Okay, but Rob Lowe doesn't do that in this episode.
No, but like it drops all of their inhibitions and then they're like completely attracted to the person. And that's
Kevin, as the
I think
newcomer here, how do you feel?
Dave, you're making a distinction without a difference. He's drugging people for sex.
Well,
That's roofing.
That's
It's the same. It's a shorthand. It's
well, he's
No,
not
wait.
intentionally doing it. It's part of his species.
please. He
But I
knows
think
this
he
is
is.
happening.
Yeah.
Come
Yeah.
on. Yeah.
Yeah, you don't know this. You know your biology, and he's
you
been getting
shouldn't
away
be
with this
touching
shit
anybody,
for a
but
long
he's
time.
touching everybody. So that's,
Yeah.
Right.
True enough. Okay.
my objection stands. Moving on.
Well, that's fine.
Yeah. Your objection can stand whether it's wrong or not. That's fine.
He's not roofing them.
Dave, I'm pretty sure I run the show, and I'm declining your objection. It's overruled.
All
It's a
right.
chemical incapacitation.
So anyway, the two of them are sitting there, but the entire time it's basically the two of them showing up each other to, win Rufio's love. I'm just gonna say Rufio now because I know it's burning Dave. So anyway, and she's got like the evil scowl going on. Or she gets really pissed off when he goes to get a drink, and she's like, "What are you doing? What are you trying to do here?" He's like, "What are you trying to do?" And he's going off. Now I have to admit his facial expressions are great during the scene. And he comes back with some booze, and he's like, "Hey, blah blah blah," and she's just got like the death scowl on her. I loved how both of them did that one.
She's not. She realizes she's in competition with him at this point.
Yeah. So anyway, we go back to Boris on the bridge.
Boris. Yes,
Boris.
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 Jack, like
He
Boris.
is.
Objection.
What? What's your objection?
He's Bortus.
I know. I
Boris. He's a
corrected myself.
bore.
Anyway, he's fun. I like him.
Hey, Kevin.
Hi, Kevin.
I'm really actually sad that I missed the beginning of the shitting on Dave episode.
We're not shitting on Dave. Dave just has a disagreement with the rest of us, and we know how that works. When one person has the disagreement, everybody else teams
When
up.
one of us is right and the rest of us are wrong. It's just how it goes.
All right. Okay. Well, let's make this fair. Anybody who's in the comments right now, is Dave right or is the rest of us
please.
right?
You
find
Sam
out.
is just dying to jump on the bandwagon here. Come on.
No, Sam has a firm hatred for me as well. So we'll see.
I think Sam just came on in the beginning. He's gone now. Like
Yeah, that's generally what Sam does. He shows up, says hi, guys. We give him his props, and then he dips after about 15 minutes.
Oh, there he is.
No, that was
That was a long time ago.
That was from
That
like
was
half
that
an
was
hour
at the
ago.
15-minute mark, and then he dipped.
That was his last comment.
No, maybe Norman
8:15.
will support
Norman, you finish this off. You let us know if Dave's right or wrong.
I listen, guys. I'm going to weigh in here. I think Dave's right.
Whoa, hold on. We had an idea.
This is going my way now.
The idea was that we were all going to team up on Dave. I don't know if you got that.
Did you not
but
get the
come on,
memo?
Adam.
Now he's admitting the conspiracy.
Adam,
Don't-
check the private chat. God, read a room, man. Anyway,
There we
All
go. I've been quiet. I got to say something here.
that's fine.
What about Kevin? Like, what's Kevin's thoughts on this?
Oh, we already
He's
know.
just watching.
Kevin, is he roofing?
I don't even
people?
know what's going on. You guys are just going.
I was this objection was about you calling Bortus Boris, but
'Cause
then
he's a bore.
it all came back to Rufio Derulio, as you call him, which
I'm going to agree with Dave on the him being a bore. He is not a bore. I agree with Dave. There you go,
well,
Dave.
just
I
saying
gave
he's
you
not
one.
Russian.
Well, he's also not Russian. True.
I can honestly see both sides. But he's boring, but he's supposed to be.
Yeah,
He's
well,
the
that's kind of
straight
what he
man,
is,
right?
Yeah,
Right.
he's the guy who just does things. He's kind of the Worf of this show. I wonder
Very
why.
much.
But anyway, I don't remember what this part is. Anybody?
This is when she was like the captain and the first officer acting weird, and he's like, "Weird how?" And like she was trying to describe it. Like she's like,
Oh yeah,
they-
and then
Like
he
they've
pipes up
been
and goes,
roofied.
Yeah. Mercer's been
Ruth.
really weird too. He's grooming himself and everything. Like, and then the two kids show up. Thank God we only got them for this one scene.
because their mom is taking a swim right now.
Apparently, their mom is taking a swim in the old Jello hole. But anyway, and we're about to see it. So brace yourself, gentlemen.
She gonna get that Jello pudding.
Norman says, "I was in the kitchen. Were you calling my name out?" Yeah, Norman. We wanted to know whether you think that
They want to know is Rob Lowe roofing these people or not?
is he intentionally trying to get on with everybody,
Yeah.
or is it just
Is he a
happens to be-
sexual villain here, or
Is he a sexual predator? That's what we really want
I
to know.
think he's just enjoying himself. I don't think it's ill intent.
That's what the sexual predator would say, Adam.
Yeah, exactly. How many times do they say that in the police interview? All right.
No.
Anyway,
this has never come up with his species, like the Reptesians and like everyone else they've met apparently. So
They are a species of sexual predators. That is why it is considered rude to turn down sex.
yeah, he said
Well-
it's rude in my culture to turn it down. So I guess.
So anyway, Alara goes to the med bay and she tries to get attention, and she decides to override, which, by the way, has the absolute stupid.
Every time they override the door lock, it doesn't go
It's
well.
always a bad idea.
Yeah.
Always bad.
The doctor's a pudding pop.
She's literally the inside of the Yafid Twinkie that's going on right now.
Yeah. I can't unsee
it's-
that. A bunch of snot all around her. And,
But you know what? Even this picture doesn't appropriately tell you how this scene goes,
yeah.
because the moans coming out of her are just brutal. All right.
Imagine a mud bath on vibrate.
That's basically
She's having a
that's-
great time.
she's having a
she's having a fantastic time. None of us were watching it, but she's having a fantastic time. Anyway, let's move on. She's cleaned herself up, or at least put some clothes on, and she basically goes back to Alara. She's like, "Does nobody ever knock in this place? Like, there is privacy, blah blah blah." And she's like, "You're in a med bay."
Yeah, sure. She's like, you're in sick bay. This isn't your quarters.
Yeah, this isn't your quarters. This isn't like a place that you should be doing this stuff. But anyway, and then she Claire starts talking about how Yafid's her true love, and she thinks she's gonna marry him and stuff. And Laura's like, "Yeah, no, this is bullshit." And then she goes to Yafid. She's like, "You are not to touch her. You are not to
Talk to her.
yeah, not to talk to her or anything. You just go until we figure this out."
And to his credit, he follows this directive.
All right, we
Not-
have the official judgment by guest judge Normand. He's going to tell us who's right here. The answer is it is pheromones, but the fact that he does not tell anybody about his race tells me if naturally he is not revealing. So yeah, he is mentoring everyone not in the know.
Hashtag mentoring.
Yeah, hashtag
Mentor. That's a new one on me.
Mentoring.
Mentoring.
Yeah, that's a new.
Yeah, that's one way to say
Is
it.
that like grooming? Is that the kind of?
Yeah,
I think Norman was just trying to be polite.
Yeah.
Yeah. He wasn't going to say that he was a straight out date rapist, but anyway, I will though. So anyway, there's Kelly, and Kelly's back in the thing. And at this point, Rob Lowe's Rufio is. I love saying that. But anyway, he doesn't look that impressed. Right. And then, Mercer comes in and he's all happy. And Mercer's like, I made a picnic. We can have some dinner. It'll be great. I got a nice rosé, some sandwiches.
Yeah.
Blah, blah, blah. And Kelly's just like, what the hell? It's the exact same thing when I found out you were going to the academy or something like that. She says, like, literally the same
these are your
thing
lame moves that you did on me or whatever.
Yeah, these are the lame moves, blah, blah, blah. And then Alara shows up and Alara's just like, you need to like come clean about this crap. And then he starts explaining like, oh yeah,
you got me. You got
me.
You got me. Sorry.
You found my roofie pills. Shit.
Yeah.
But then he was like, what's the big deal? Everyone's going to have some good sex. And he says that their feelings are real. Like that this is not.
Their feelings are real, but, the circumstance for which their feelings are happening aren't real.
Right.
So it's basically the two of them then leave. They're both back in the elevator again. And of course, Dan shows up again.
Is this where she blows up on Dan?
Yeah, this is where she finally says, like, are you always in the elevator?
Right.
Yeah, this is where she yells at him. And Dan's just like, he's like, oh, okay. And then this is where he says, it's okay. You're good with me, Dan, or something like that. Or you're good, Dan. So Adam's totally right. He had a name.
But I'm with Kelly. The music was infuriating.
Oh, it was terrible.
Something else.
Absolutely terrible. And the worst thing is, like, they're already in a mood, right? So it's like that music did not help. And then there's Dad just like, hey, you hear? Oh, music. Yeah, great. Yeah.
He's one of my favorite characters.
He is pretty awesome character. Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, we've seen him in a couple. He's usually in the background most of the time, but you do see him.
Doesn't he become more prominent in the later seasons?
In the second season, he has more talking.
Yeah, a little more, but he's always sort of this comic relief. Like
he's always just the guy.
He's never really a serious character at all.
Yeah, he just breaks up a scene every time he's around. But anyway, so we're back to the table with the two alien delegates there, and at this point, I apparently missed Mercer somehow. But Mercer is sitting here talking to them. He says something quickly, and then he's like, "Okay,
it's
well,
like, I have met the most incredible thing. I know you guys."
Oh yeah, he starts talking about
thing, but
he starts talking about Rufio.
Guy.
Yeah. So anyway, how you doing, Dave?
I'm fine.
All right, good. Well, now it's no fun. Anyway, but I guess Kelly like tries to like, satisfy this thing because she's kind of coming out of it now, right? Like she's losing.
I don't think she's coming out of it at all. Like this,
I think she was coming out of it a bit.
No, she goes and like starts eating ice cream in bed, and like it's hilarious when she.
Oh no, she's defeated. Like,
yeah,
she thinks
she's feeling dejected, maybe. Yeah, but
so anyway, the computer figures out that the pheromone can be used and weaponized essentially to create a much more potent version of it, which he eventually gives to the two delegates. Turns out that both the fleets have shown up now for the two different delegates parties, and they're about to square off. And it turns out they start squaring off, but at this point we go back to Mercer's room, which looks a lot like Kelly's room. And then we get a shot of Kelly, and she's sitting there eating a cupcake.
So
crying.
This is hilarious because they're desperately calling the first officer and the captain to the bridge. Yeah. Neither are coming.
And neither are coming. One of them's in bed with the alien, and the other one's, crying
in bed with a cupcake.
Cry shaming yourself. Yeah.
I just want to talk about Boris's plan here with the let's just use a deflector shield and separate them with a wall. You are in space. How far? You're like trying to put a paddle between two battleships. Like, let me just get a ping pong paddle.
Well, they just have
them
to fly
between two
over
battleships.
I think
that's what I'm saying. It's 3D space that could go up and over or around.
This was Isaac's plan, wasn't it?
No, this was definitely. Oh, it was Isaac's plan.
It was Isaac's
which is even worse because he should be smarter than that.
I think if Isaac's suggesting it, I buy it. I think there was a practical way.
Anyway, they can Rob Lowe's character can see the the two battleships that are all the battles that are coming in, and Mercer's like, I just want to cuddle, and he's like, yeah, they keep calling me, and I just don't want to. I don't. I just
You're
wanna
the
be here.
captain. Should you be on the bridge? She's like, I'm always on the
No,
bridge.
no, no.
Always on the bridge.
My favorite is before this when they start calling him and he's just looking at Gerulio and he's like, don't answer it. Don't answer it.
No.
I'm not here. I'm not here.
Yeah. So anyway, the two parties have come up and basically they've said, we can't really sell this, kind of thing. So Isaac's like, yeah, no, we can put a deflection thing in between the two parties and that'll buy us some time. And he's like, okay, make it happen, kind of thing. So he calls down to the chief. Chief's like, yeah, but the only person that can do that is Yaphet. And so they call Yaphet to the bridge, and Yaphet right away responds, and he's like, yeah, on my way. And then Rob Lowe shows up and he's like, I got an idea, kind of thing. He goes, I know I'm not supposed to be out of my quarters, but because he was confined to quarters earlier, but I got an idea. Bortus listens to him, and then the two ships start going at each other. At this point, you see Yaphet, he's on his way, and Claire shows up, and Claire is very angry.
I left you 60 messages.
Yeah, I've left you 60 messages and you haven't responded.
And this is the part that I'm not a fan of. Like, okay, so they hooked up, but now she's gone super crazy and obsessive about it. It's like, why?
Well, because
What
the
was-
pheromones.
Is it though? I mean,
Yeah, when
it's-
you come off her roofies, man, I'm sure it's not a fun time.
It
guess.
is consistent. I mean, Kelly and Ed are
They both got
ignoring
angry.
the ship.
Yeah, and they both got
yeah,
angry
but
too.
they're attracted to Rob Lowe's character,
Yes.
Like, I don't quite. I don't know.
If I can't have you, no one can.
Yeah.
Well,
Yeah.
he
Typical.
explains though that his pheromones were in Yaphet. Like
Yes.
he walked through Yaphet and his pheromones got, so it's the same effect between her and Yaphet.
It might even be
as it is,
stronger.
but
Like,
I
Yeah.
don't
Yaphet.
know if maybe
it's
I
not. It's
guess.
not. It's plausible, right?
Yeah.
So
Sure.
basically,
So-
we see her basically pointing a gun at him, and then at that point, it flips over to the space battle. Sorry. what were you gonna say?
I get all the like her pheromones are freaking out and stuff, but it's just it doesn't. There was no precedent really for her to like freak out. Like there was no. There was
Well, because
nothing
she was going to
between
marry
them.
him.
Think about how far
guess.
she had to go from being completely repulsed by Yaphet to being completely obsessed with him.
Yeah,
right?
it's
like
the
so.
polar
That's a
Yeah,
big
well,
ch-
look
that-
how quickly Mercer goes through that
right,
chain.
and he hates that guy, right?
Yeah.
Coming into
Absolutely
this,
hates the guy. Yeah,
Right, so
for
this-
many
this is-
reasons, not just
It's
the
a
ones
pretty.
that are on
It's
the
a
ship.
pretty strong influence, to say the least.
Yeah. So anyway, we got this nice space battle where we got to see everybody shooting at everybody. I finally got some shots
ship
where like people were
designs.
Pew
shooting.
pew pew pew.
Yeah, ship design. Some of them are very simple. Some
I
of
thought
them
this battle was kind of boring, and I was mostly.
it was a bit boring compared to some of the other ones that they've done. So anyway, here comes Alara, and she's brought the two delegates, and it turns out that they are holding hands now because they are deeply in love with each other.
This was some good comedy here. Like
Yeah.
this is. Are you going to tell them? I don't want to tell them before I've told my
Yeah, I
parents.
don't want to tell them before I tell my parents and
Yeah,
stuff like
like-
that. Yeah.
There's some
So-
good dialogue here.
Yeah, there was some pretty good dialogue. But basically, the two of them have united in their cause and other things. And they kiss, and basically, Alara's like, woo-hoo! And the rest of them are just like, wow, all of a sudden, all the ships have been called off because they called them off, obviously. But, they start warping out. And then we go back to basically now we're in Medbay, and this is with Mercer. Mercer's getting a checkup, and he's like, I'm feeling a bit embarrassed about this, blah, blah, blah. And she's like, yeah, I kind of know the feeling. But we don't actually see what happens with Yaphet and her with the gun. Like, they just kind of gloss over that, right? Or did I miss something?
That's what no, it's
Nope,
just
we all missed
that's
it.
Okay,
Yeah,
we all missed
it's
it. Okay.
like that's what I'm saying. There was beats to that storyline that were taken out. 1 minute
Yeah.
she's a pudding pop, and then the next minute she's pointing a gun at him, and then that's it. There's no resolution to that.
True. Yeah,
Yeah.
we do. We seem to be
100%.
missing something there.
100%.
Well,
Yeah.
the Rob Lowe's character did say, like, it does wear off after a day or two. So maybe now it's worn off or something. I don't know.
Right, but what convinced her to stop pointing a gun at Yaphet and let Yaphet continue? Like, obviously, he didn't do the thing he was meant to do, which was run through the corridors and set up whatever. They ultimately came to a resolution to subvert the thing they were trying to set up. But, like...
Yeah, there's definitely a loose end there.
Did she just like, you know what? Never mind.
Yeah, she's
like was the resolution?
Maybe, I don't know. It's probably a deleted scene that didn't make it or something. But anyway, then we see Mercer going into Kelly's office, and Kelly's like, "Oh, let's just stop you there. Let's never speak of this again." And he's like, "Yeah, that sounds great, because I didn't want to be the dick that said it." And she's like, "Yeah, this was terrible." And then Mercer talks to Rob Lowe one last time. I don't remember what he says to him.
Well, he kind of apologizes, I guess, or something. And but the big question here is like from Kelly, where she says, "Were you in heat a year ago when she had the original affair?" And he goes, "Maybe." And it's kind of left open ended.
Yeah.
Yeah, I like that they leave it open ended, but I like that they leave it open ended, but then I don't think they really revisit this again. Like this is kind of the end of their relationship being like a huge part of the show.
The whole thing about how their divorce came about. I feel like
because she asked him before he leaves, were you going through your mating thing at that point? Were pheromones a play when, I was in bed with you that time? And he goes, I think he says something very open-ended. He says like,
maybe.
Maybe. Yeah. Which I think is good enough for Mercer to just say, okay, well, now I get it because I slept with the dude too. Like, so at this point, there's the rivalry is.
I guess there's some closure there. There's a lot of like plausibility that, her having the affair maybe was out of character, and was not something she would have done otherwise.
But I do like, and the reason why I got these ones, I had to go back a couple times to try to get these faces, because you can see the fact that they both have remorse now. Like he definitely is like, wow, I've been kind of a dick about this.
Yeah, like, and if you go back to the beginning, like when she was doing the karaoke, and he was
he's like happy, and he's
enjoying watching her up there, and you got the sense that these two are on well beyond repair of the relationship, and they're working well together, and everything's fine.
Yeah. Right. But I think he realizes at this point that oh wow, maybe I was a little bit harsh about all this. And then the shuttle goes back to the other ship, and then that's the end of the episode. All right. Okay. Let's remove that. All right.
So who gets credit for that win there?
Probably Alara, I'm thinking.
Maybe Bortus.
No. Everything he did didn't work.
That's true. Or it never got actually done.
He did agree. He agreed to Rob Lowe's proposal, I guess, his plan. So he didn't really have to do anything other than agree, but he was in command, I guess. This is not the first time the Union lacks knowledge of their species, and nothing secretive like the Vulcan bonfire rituals. Yeah, but I don't know how many of these Reptesians are going around the Union, but it must be a small number that they don't have more of a reputation at this point.
Yeah, and I think he's responding to Kevin's answer, which is, this is the last time you see Rob Lowe, at least in the episodes that have been.
They're not just Rob Lowe, but the last time. Like they button this whole thing up. Like they don't make the Kelly and Ed's relationship a big thing anymore after this.
Yes, that's true. Yeah. Because through the first couple episodes of this, it was like, and here's my commander who also, slept around on me, that kind of thing. So, but anyway, but guys, there is always a fun time that we always have here, and it's a time that we can all enjoy, and that of course is Fun Facts with Adam.
Okay, we've got a handful tonight, guys. We got a handful. We got let's just start here. So Mike Henry is a frequent Seth MacFarlane collaborator. He makes his first appearance here as Dan, the mushroom-headed man, requesting that music be added to the elevators. Dan would be going on to be a reoccurring supporting character throughout the series.
This is the first time, okay.
Yep.
Well,
I think
we
we've
have
seen him
in the
actually. I
background,
think we've seen him in the background, but we
We've
haven't
seen him in the background. This is the first time he spoke.
Yeah.
Yeah.
When Derulio mentions he's given up sugar, this reflects Rob Lowe's actual dietary habits.
Yes.
Yep. Rob Lowe is an adherent of Atkins' diet, where refined sugars are completely out, and complex carbohydrates are minimized in favor of proteins and fats.
That's correct. Good on you, Rob Lowe.
Well, if you ever watch that Rescue San, I don't know, Austin, the fire one, and he's in great shape for his age.
Well, even on Parks and Rec, and he's
Rob Lowe is a national treasure.
Yeah, he is for sure.
Okay, sure. I'm old enough to remember when Rob Lowe had to go away for several years.
Yes, he did.
I am young enough not to.
That, Kevin. Holy smokes! Here we
Yeah, but to his credit, so did Robert Downey Jr. So,
true.
For different things.
That's to his credit, but okay.
Well,
okay.
People can change.
At the beginning, Bortus is about to sing "My Heart Will Go On" from the movie Titanic, but he's interrupted by Admiral Halsey, who's played by Victor Garber, who also was in Titanic.
Yeah, that's right.
As Thomas Andrews.
I had to put that together until right now. Yeah, but he's in Titanic.
Yeah, literally when you started saying that, I'm like, oh, wait a second. Yeah.
The concept of the female alien that provokes strong sexual desires from a male human on the Starship Enterprise is used 3 times in the franchise. Of course, in the motion picture with the Delton.
Yeah.
The Perfect Mate with Captain Picard and Famke Jensen. Remember?
Yes, it's
on a top.
That is my least favorite TNG episode, by the way.
Yeah, I don't know.
Yeah, GoldenEye.
On a top. And Bound, if you remember from Enterprise with the pardon me, the Orion women.
Yes, that was a terrible.
What about the Xanthi fever?
Xanthi fever.
In Fascination, Deep Space Nine.
That's true too. Yep. Okay. John Bulmer, who plays an Avarian ambassador, appears in multiple roles in Star Trek as a Borg, Cardassian, Vulcan, and Nazis. This was the first of 3 roles in the Orville for him.
Oh yeah. Okay.
Yeah.
He's always playing different aliens.
Adrian Pilecki, who was terrified about the prospect of doing karaoke at the beginning, had to have a few drinks to get herself ready for it.
Same here.
She's apparently drunk in that scene.
Yeah. Anyway, she did personally choose the song that she sang.
Okay.
So she had to choose it, and then they had to go and get the rights for it, and then
Wow. So I stumbled on this other thing that was kind of interesting too, was the comparison to Star Trek Journey to Babel. If you remember that episode, guys, from the original series.
Of course.
But so in that episode, the USS Enterprise hosts a delegation of ambassadors deciding whether to admit Corridon into the Federation. And some of the species, however, claim Corridon as their own. The Enterprise's goal is to prevent the war from breaking out. In this episode, the Orville Cupid's Dagger, they host 2 ambassadorial delegations awaiting the results of the test of a Lipovian birthing bucket. Both species claim Lipovius as their own, and the Orville's goal is to prevent war. In Journey to Babel, Vulcan Ambassador Sarek and his wife join the mission, but is hindered by the presence of the first officer, their estranged son. And in this one, Derulio joins and is derailed because of his previously sexual encounter with Kelly Grayson. And then finally, a meeting between ambassadors nearly breaks into a fighting over Corridon, broken up by James T. Kirk. And in this one, the meeting between the ambassadors nearly breaks out, but Captain Ed Mercer breaks it up. So very, very big similarities there as well.
They're similar in the sense that they have these 2 angry delegations on board, but I don't think that this is a lot like Journey to Babel, like in my opinion. But
no.
I think it's more
there's
like
some similarities, but I wouldn't say it's not like a carbon copy or anything.
No.
And they were talking about some other episodes that had some of this kind of influence, whether it's roofies or not. But and Elen of Tiresias, or whatever it was called.
Troy.
It was derailed when Bride's tears touched Captain Kirk. The tears are a super love potion that does not wear off. And then in Mud's Women,
that ridiculous episode.
And in Mud's Women, a powerful chemical aphrodisiac slowly creates an overwhelming romantic attraction between hosts and recipients once they physically touch one another. And then, if you remember, we also had, we just did it in Next Gen a couple weeks ago. The help me out here, guys.
Naked Now,
or
is it the? Yeah, well, Naked Now was kind of like that.
Yeah, so we've had lots of like under the influences type episodes though over the years.
But the Naked Now was a remake of an episode from the original series.
The Naked Time.
Was it Naked Time or Naked No or something?
Sorry, Naked Time was Naked Time was the original series, and Naked Now was Next Gen.
Yeah. Okay. Yeah.
But in those, they both had powerful pheromones that created all kinds of chaos.
They were mostly drunk though.
Yeah.
It was like a drunk kind of thing.
But I think that if they had redone this in the Orville style, it would have been very much like this.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I got a detail to discover here, Adam.
What? A detail discovered by Dave?
That's right.
One?
No. I got some BS to call out here.
Uh-oh.
The planetary union ship that carries Derulio is the USS Olympia with the registry number SCV-183. This is why I was confused at the beginning of the episode. I'm like, the Olympia, which we saw in a previous episode.
Is it the same ship? Because that one was huge.
It turns out it's a different ship. So in
With
the
same
episode,
name?
in the episode Krill, the Orville stops alongside the USS Olympia, but with a different registry number, LCV-529, a flagship Leviathan class heavy cruiser. Thus, the Union is using the name USS Olympia for two distinct vessels. What is the matter with them? This is not acceptable.
This is wrong.
You can't have the same name on two ships that are in active service at the same time. I know that this is something Kevin will probably object to, but I say no. It's not allowed.
What a travesty! What a travesty, Dave.
I say
I'm never gonna watch this show again. As a matter of fact, this will be my last appearance because of this nonsense. Do they even care?
No, they clearly don't.
Norman's saying thousands of ships, Dave. They ran out. There's no way they would run out of names. They can't.
No, there's a lot of names out there you could use.
Especially if they're adding in all like the other planets and like their.
Well, maybe the heavy cruiser
is it
got
spelled
destroyed.
differently?
No.
Oh, there you go. No.
No, it's
just Dave. I understand your
because I thought the Olympia was a bigger ship, and it is.
Which would make sense.
There's also a smaller Olympia, and anyway, that's it.
You know what?
Sorry, one more, guys. One more, because it's interesting. Yeah, actor Ralph Garman, who played the karaoke host, Canute, suffers from severe claustrophobia. He had to take multiple breaks and several shots of Jack Daniels supplied by Seth MacFarlane to get through the filming.
Oh, God.
And in fact, he was going to be a regular series, but he was dropped after he suffered a panic attack in one of the filmings.
Aw.
Poor guy.
Oh, really? So he couldn't. I'm sure he really wanted to do the show, but
why not? It'd be a steady paycheck, probably.
And just so you guys know, and I'm going to close it here, Dave. I think we've come to a loop and maybe have come to the other side here. The episode has come to become the focus of an academic study. Derullian assault. Derullian assault. The Orville and sexual consent.
Yes, there is an academic study about this.
I'd
be curious to read it, actually. So,
all right. Well, you read it and give us the show notes. How's that?
You can bring this fellow on. Michael R. Berry, exploring the Orville.
All right. Well, gentlemen, I think it's time. It's time for the ratings. How do we feel about this episode? Let's go with Adam first.
I'm going to give this an 8.
An 8?
Yeah, it was good.
All right.
The only thing I wish I would have given it a 10 if Bordas had sung.
Yeah, if Bordas had sung, it would have been an automatic for me. Dave, how are you feeling?
I'll go 8.5 on this.
8.5. Wow. All right, Kevin.
I don't know. I think this episode is funny, and I do enjoy it, but it is so painfully lacking in any substance whatsoever that it's hard to give it high marks for me. And also, I really hate that Yaphet was ever in any way successful in his attempts.
You want us to come back to you?
6.5.
6.5. All right. All right, Mr. Worldmind himself.
Yeah, I'm giving it a 6.
6? Wow, that's more than I thought you were going to give it. You know what? I'm more with Kevin on this one, and you know what? I agree. There's not a lot of substance to this episode. There's not a lot going on.
I do find it funny though.
It is funny, yeah. I don't think I'm going to be as hard on it as you. I'm going to give it a 7.2. That's what I'm going to give it.
Which is now what we were averaging.
Which is funny enough. I'm actually the average. The IMDb gave it a 7.8. So better than last week's episode, which, yeah, I guess a little bit better. At least in my eyes anyway. And yeah, so combined average 7.5. So we're pretty much, we're almost there.
It's a B, you know,
so Braga nor McFarlane touched this episode. The story and the teleplay was both
neither the writer nor the director, huh?
Yeah.
So.
Well, it was also commented in the fun facts here that, and I didn't read it out tonight, but McFarlane heavily edited this script as well. It seems like he just saw every script and just changed it all.
And he was like, "No, I can do it better."
Yeah.
This needs a better fat joke.
Dave and Murphy, do you want to give your vote for last week?
Well, I didn't actually watch it, so I'm going to have to go based on memory here only. So I think I'm a 7.
7 for that. All right. What about you, Murphy?
Yeah, I'll probably give that one a 5.
5. Okay. All right. So that brings it down to 6.8, 7.3 IMDb, so 7.1. So yeah, we're pretty good realistically, except for maybe majority rule.
So who's the lowest on this like so far?
The
Murphy,
overall
easily.
It's got to be Murphy.
Oh yeah, Murphy's averaging a 5.8.
Yeah. So right now he's average 5.8. I guess it's waiting for. Oh, there it goes. All right. Yeah. Because Murphy's already given out a 0.
And I'm averaging an 8.3. So
Adam gave out a 0 too, though. So to be fair. So you two are the guys.
I'm higher than the rest of you by a lot, and then after me, yeah. But I like the show. So
I'm actually surprised. I'm like in the middle. Like I'd
say Jody, Adam, Kevin.
I pitched doing this show, so
Adam hates it the most.
Adam hates it the most right now. Okay.
Yeah.
Well,
except for Murphy.
No, Murphy hates it the most. I don't hate it at all.
But he's an outlier, so we have to discount him here.
Wow. That's not very nice.
Your score is an outliner.
You
man.
hear that?
Sorry,
you
I
hear
speak
that?
the
Your
truth,
opinions,
Dave.
Your
What? I didn't
opinions
say
are
any-
different than ours. They don't count.
I didn't say anything inaccurate. He's an outlier. He's given a 5.8.
His scores are an outliner, Dave. You should have said that a little differently.
Yeah, maybe.
Or so you're implying as a person he's an outlier?
No, you are. I'm not.
I'm not.
You're all outliers.
I don't think none of you guys know what the word means.
I know what it means. You don't know what it means.
Hold on.
Oh boy, we better wrap this up.
A person or thing situated away or detached from the main body or system. A person or thing differing from all the other members of a particular group or set. Or a younger rock formation isolated among older rocks. Well, which which definition would
He's
be?
probably
You're
the
harder
youngest
than
rock
ever,
in the
Dave.
room.
It's rock formation for sure.
Yeah, Murphy, you are a younger rock formation. You are the youngest person here.
Yes.
So we'll go with
All
that.
right. Well, next week we're going to be discussing Firestorm, and that is the episode where Lara questions whether she's fit for her job when a fire breaks out on the Orville and a crew member dies. Well, it was going to happen eventually. Let's be honest. I think crew members have already died, haven't they?
I had one more thing I wanted to mention about this episode before we close out. Was like was looking up all like what the the title of this episode was Cupid's Dagger, right? And in different languages, like what the translation means. Like a lot of it's like it's a straight up like in German it translates to Cupid's Dagger, Hungarian the same thing, and Russian. But in Ukrainian it translates to love is evil. In Japanese, they went with awkward pheromones being the translation, and Italian means the stab of Cupid. Oh, and then the French translation means an unexpected visit. I don't know. It's interesting that, like, I guess, maybe
depends on the
culture, and I guess
in
whether
France there is no rape, just unexpected visits.
Unexpected visits.
Wow.
Well, or in France, I was gonna say in France there's no Cupid, but yeah.
I don't know. Anyway, that wraps it up for us, guys. Anybody got any parting words? Anybody got anything going on they want to talk about?
Don't stop believing. Things that I had going on. Well, just this past Sunday, we did a little Star Trek episode of Trivial Debates.
Yeah, I believe Dave was hosting.
Dave Maynard was host and chair of that episode. We had our own lovely Ashley Millard. Frankly, Reckenhouse on Sean Farrick and Travis Cook.
Oh, really?
Oh,
great.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah.
She
That must be hard with those two because those two know
she went an A game, and like I don't think they were fully prepared for her. So
she went full tilt.
Yeah.
No,
well, hopefully they'll be back. Hopefully they'll be back.
There's a good chance they had a good time. So
awesome.
definitely check that episode out over at Trivial
and that's
Debates.
TV Trav, right? TV Trav or
Trek Trav, yeah. Sean Farrick from
Trek Culture, right?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Culture, yeah.
Great.
He was. Yeah. They're both lovely guys.
Yeah. Awesome. That's cool. All right, well, gentlemen, unless we have anything else to say,
Oh,
Kevin, what do you have going
Wednesday.
on other than probably
I got nothing going on.
Nothing. All right. What about you,
Nothing.
Dave? Other than that,
TNG podcast tomorrow night. We're talking about Haven, which apparently Davin thinks is a 2 out of 10, and I'm going to be on with my dad and Jody and Heather tomorrow night.
Oh,
So
okay.
he got back. At least I got him to a 2. I'm going to try to work on that.
Yeah, I still don't understand what he hates so much. But
Which one's Haven again?
Dude,
The one
that seems high.
No, it's not high. It's good. It's a good episode.
Which episode
now.
is Haven?
the one where Troy, it's the first Luxana Troy episode.
Where
are you
she's
supposed to
gonna
be
get
on that
married?
episode, Jody?
Yeah. Apparently, I always watch it before, so
Right.
but I don't remember that one. I remember I skip it a lot because it probably if it has Luxana Troy, I probably skip it. Yeah.
I also Wednesday I got a hold up episode coming up with
what's that?
Andre Mayette. We're covering gigantic monsters, 20,000 fathoms from the deep, Colossal, and Godzilla -1. Those are the films we're
Godzilla
watching.
-1 is awesome.
It's so good.
It's
so
really good. Yeah, I just watched that actually. It was really good.
Yeah.
The American ones suck though. Adam, what do you got going on?
Wherever you guys tell me to go, I'm happy.
Okay, fair enough. All right, same
So
with
Jody,
me. Really,
if you don't watch the episode and don't want to talk about Trek tomorrow, I will be Dave. I'll be happy to come on. I've got time.
He wants your spot, Jody.
he does want my spot. Wow.
No, I don't want it that bad. If you don't want to go on,
He wants it so bad he's gonna wrestle it from your cold.
Well,
dead
I'm going to
fingers.
tell you right now. I'm going to be brutal with Luxana because I think it's an absolutely terrible character.
I'm curious to see what my dad says about it because he knows Majel Barrett from.
But I think
Nurse
this is
Chapel,
going to be the first time him and I are on a podcast together for a while.
Yeah, probably since original series. So
Since the time he called you an idiot.
yeah,
Oh no, because that wasn't the last episode.
that was it. That was like in the middle of the run. So.
Yeah, that was the
No, it was pretty near the end, I thought.
I don't know. Anyway, all right. Well, gentlemen, thank you very much for your insights and your thoughts. I do appreciate it, as well as everybody else watching, I'm sure. That's about it. So let's, you know what? Let's do the outro where we get to find out all the other cool things that happen on this channel. And of course, make sure you join us for that stuff. Anyway, have a great night. Live long and prosper.
Beam up some Star Trek content with Live Long and Podcast. Tune in to X-Rated, the X-Men animated review show. Artistic interviews with graphic histories. A roundtable movie discussion with Hey, did you see this one? And movie reviews with Hold Up, a movie podcast. And while you're at it, spin a few records with Eamon on Track. Watch us duke it out on Trivial Debates. And let's chat about TV with the Super Mater Brothers. It's all here on the United Federation of Podcasts.